Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. This is Zoe from zostillmovingabout. And this is NewsViews episode 39. I do have with me my friend Imran. He is a Phuket expat. He's a teacher and a whole bunch of things.
Sure.
And
Hello.
hi. Yeah, this was supposed to come in a different way, but it's on. So yeah, I was just telling everybody that you could hear me then.
Yes, I can hear you now.
And you could
Slight
hear me when I
correction.
was introducing you?
Yes, I could hear you when you were
Okay,
introducing me. Slight correction.
fantastic.
Unemployed, former teacher. Um,
Fair enough. You'll be fine. You'll be fine, man. So Imran's a buddy of mine, and he was at my place, and we did some kind of a live stream, I think, or just a
yeah,
video. I don't
sure.
remember.
So
Right? We
about
did
a
a
month,
live stream.
month
Yeah.
and a half ago, before this
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
COVID situation,
Before
we
this
sat
whole
down
COVID
together
situation
in Zoom
happened.
and we did the first of our potentially many podcasts.
Exactly. So let's bring this up. Talking to Imran the social distancing way, which is online, different places of the island. Yeah, different
Yeah,
different areas of the
different
island.
sub-districts. We couldn't meet each other even if we wanted to.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what everybody's dealing with. So the COVID-19 is still rampant, and everybody's still social distancing and just trying to make sure that they stay safe and wear masks. Except there are a bunch of people who do not want to do that. Imran, you're up. Like, what do you think is happening with these Phuket expats groups? Where these guys, they keep on saying this is not real, it's a scam, and this and that. There's one. If you don't mind, let me tell you a short story.
Sure, sure.
This person basically commented today saying that he was walking in Rawai today and Sai Uwan and a few things popped in his head that there's a lot of garbage on the roads everywhere and it's not a pretty sight. Why doesn't the government employ a lot of workers to be out in the nice weather? He said specifically nice weather to make their land look nice. And the interesting thing is, I basically said to him, because nice weather is no excuse to get out when we are under lockdown for very, very obvious reasons. You know about the virus, right? And then we have a guy who's a conspiracy theorist who says you can't believe all you hear, all you read from everybody as they are working with false data. He also misspelled false, FAULCE. And and then he said it's bad, but not near as bad as is being painted by the media and big pharma, who want to give everyone a vaccination, the safety of which is very dubious. So basically,
Oh, great.
not
Okay,
only
brilliant.
excuse me, not only
Brilliant.
can he not spell, he is also anti-vaxxing. So I
Okay,
just wanted
brilliant.
to talk to you
So
about this. Like,
let's
what do you
respond
think?
to those points in order, shall we? So first things first, the guy who said nice weather. Nice weather is subjective. Okay, it's nice weather if you're a tourist and you're lying on the beach. It's not nice
Hmm.
weather if you're wearing clothes and walking around picking up trash.
Yeah,
Like,
agreed.
I would highly recommend for this guy who seems to have desire to see the streets of Rawai clean, to put on the outfit that the trash pickers wear here in Phuket, which usually seems to be quite a lot of clothes from what I've seen. And he can, by all means, put on that outfit and go and pick up the trash and do something nice for the community that he lives in. I don't see why he is pawning off the responsibility to others. If the weather is so nice and you think there's a job that needs to be done, man, go right ahead and do it. No one's stopping you.
I know,
So that's
right? Judging by the
secondly,
comment, though, Judging by
yeah,
the comment, though, I don't think he's that kind of a person. Uh,
sure. He's one of those armchair commentators.
yeah.
He has a desire to do good. Um, in the next life. Like,
Agree. Yeah.
if he's going to take any action, it's not going to be today.
Agreed.
And he'd rather preach instead of practicing, which is a common flaw amongst humans. I'm not guilty. I've done that myself a lot. In fact, we're doing it right now. We're sitting on armchairs and commentating. So
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I've done a bunch of episodes doing this exact same
yeah,
thing.
we're not too different, but at the same time, like, at least what you do is spreading news and providing information to people. You're not
Oh, bless your heart,
criticizing
Imran.
at. You are just passing information on. Okay. Secondly, the nutter who talked about big pharma and the vaccine. So
He's
this
the same
virus.
guy, by the way.
Oh, it's the
All
same guy.
three is the same
Brilliant.
guy.
Oh, brilliant. Amazing. So this guy doesn't seem to have a grip on reality. There is a virus going around, and there are people dying from it. And there was a very good news story that happened a couple of days ago, which was that a 6-day-old or 10-day-old child or something like this was
Mm-hmm.
born, and immediately he got COVID-19,
Yeah.
and the doctors managed to save his life. Which was an excellent feel-good story. I think you covered it as well at
Yeah,
some
I
point.
think I did. Yeah.
So the idea is that this is a serious illness. It's quite a serious illness. I mean, the necessity of the lockdown measures is important because the idea is that we have very many viruses that go around. There's a common rubbish myth which is around
Yeah.
the internet, which people say that, oh, it's no worse than the flu, it's just another flu, blah blah. But this is nonsense. This is a nonsense argument because with the flu we have methods of controlling it, and we know how to fix the problem. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, with this disease, it's a bit different in that we have been aware of it as a species for 4 months or 5 months, barely.
Yeah.
Humanity has been aware of this virus for about 5 months, and in that time, we have been trying to deal with the the effects of the virus, not only
Mm-hmm.
the physical effects of people getting sick, but also
Yeah.
the misinformation which is everywhere, and the fight back from the protesters who are claiming that and the right wing nut jobs and the conspiracy theorists and the idiots like this who talk about big pharma. I mean, okay, I'm not going to deny that big pharma is a thing, and the way that big pharma operates is that they extract maximum um, money from sick people.
Yeah.
The way that pharmaceutical companies operate, especially in the United States of America,
Mm-hmm.
is horrific because just as one simple example, people in the US have to cross the border to get insulin because it's about 6 times cheaper
Yeah.
than the insulin in their own country. So
Yeah.
let's divide this into two segments immediately. There's one half, or there's a certain number of diabetics who have type 2 diabetes,
Mm-hmm.
and those people, to an extent, deserve it. Okay, I might end up like that myself, but those people kind of deserve it because they were told their whole life, don't consume sugar excessively, and they consume sugar excessively, like me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll get type 2 diabetes if I'm not careful enough, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll be in trouble with it. So
Yeah.
this segment of the population does not deserve sympathy.
Okay.
If I get diabetes, I don't want too much sympathy because I brought it on myself, quite clearly.
Okay.
However,
I
there's
think
the
people
other
will beg
segment.
to differ, though.
Pardon?
People will beg to differ that they would say maybe he can get diabetes, but we whether
No,
he
sure,
says we
sure.
deserve it or not.
Hindsight is always 2020. Like, the
Yeah.
people who already have it, they they feel the pain and the suffering, and
Yeah.
maybe they weren't aware of how solid the disease was. I'm
Yeah.
not saying they deserve it, but they kind of brought it on themselves in a way.
Okay.
But
They are
there's
the
the other
reason. They are
segment,
the
which is
reason that
type
happened
1.
to them. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's the other segment, which is the type 1 diabetics, and those people are being punished unnecessarily, and they're being forced to pay to stay alive.
Yeah.
And it's not their fault that they have diabetes, because the type 1 diabetics were born without a functioning pancreas cells which produce insulin. So it's just not their fault that they have the disease. And it's not fair for Big Pharma to extract money from them in such an unethical way. The US needs a socialized healthcare
Yeah.
system like Canada, you know.
I think they're
You
pretty
can't have
far
people
from it
going
though.
bankrupt. And then there was that story a few years ago of the guy who owned the patent for diaprim, which was written, and he jacked up the price 700%.
Yeah.
And that guy is in jail, by the way. But he's not in jail for doing that. He's in
Obviously
jail
not. Of
for
course not.
he's in jail for misleading shareholders. Okay, he's not
Of
in
course.
jail
So,
for
so he couldn't make the rich
extracting.
richer. That's why
Yeah,
they put
yeah.
him behind
He's not
bars.
in jail for harassing the poor. He's in jail for lying to the rich. Okay,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Okay.
It's excellent reflection of where the world is right now. So, going back to this nut job who is commenting on the internet about vaccines and wanting people to be vaccinated. Yes, you moron. We do want people to be vaccinated, because if 60 to 70% of the population is not vaccinated, then tomorrow smallpox is going to destroy all of us. Or tomorrow,
Yeah.
like these communicable diseases which are preventable with modern medicine and science, you'll have to go back to praying, and that doesn't work either. So yeah, these people who criticize vaccines are morons.
Well, yeah, that goes without saying. I think. I mean, it's just it's difficult. Like today, when I commented on this guy's post, right? The first thing I thought of was that I actually breathe the same air as these guys, and we're glad that we live on an island near the sea, so the wind probably hopefully takes it away from us. But it's really important to understand that now they're talking about that you should not be able to run outside even, because if someone's running, regardless of whether they're wearing a mask or not, if they do have the COVID, then you might catch it because of the same air. It stays.
I
And
don't think that this is too much of a problem. In fact, from the science that I've read, and obviously you and I are not experts here, we're not virologists, we're not doctors. But from the science I've read so far, it's less of droplet infection and more of contaminated surfaces.
okay, got it.
But that's just my understanding of it, which may or may not be correct.
Agreed. And may or may not be important for a lot of people. Not me.
Yeah.
I think you're as important as can be. Trust me. So leaving Phuket now. Leaving Phuket. I saw this news report from Pakistan. Let me try to share this with you. Um, so Airway News, it's a pretty big news agency in Pakistan, and the headline of this is Airway News Islamabad office shut down as coronavirus infects 8. Now and we've talked about this from in the past, but they had 20 people working at the office. And just to summarize a bit, and you can read it, and I think the viewers can read it as well, but I just want to make sure that we hone in on what the issue is here. Both journalists and media workers are among those who have been infected by the virus. Yeah, so the CEO basically said in a tweet that the samples of all employees working at the office were being collected for testing. Why all these people were there, I'm not sure. Interestingly, the office is now closed. And sorry, backing up, he said the CEO actually said that they were just randomly testing people as a precautionary measure. So they weren't even looking for it, from what I can see from this report, that people were just being tested just for the sake of testing. Hey, you guys are here, just test you guys and see what happens. And I want to ask you, I want to discuss this with you. Like, some of us are lucky that we can work from home. Our bosses, our companies actually do understand that things are dangerous and we need to social distance and everything. What's your input on this? What's your take on companies like these in Pakistan and all over the world who are just forcing people to just work during these times? I feel, sorry, just one last addition to
Go
this.
on, go on.
I genuinely feel a lot for 7-Eleven cashiers and workers there, because they haven't gotten a break. That's what I've noticed. They haven't gotten a break. I doubt that they are going to get time off because things are so busy here. And I do
I
feel for
disagree.
them.
I really disagree. I
Okay, go
massively
ahead.
disagree.
Sure, of course.
The 7-Elevens and Family Marts and all the other shops and convenience stores, etc., are closed after curfew hours.
After curfew hours,
So
yeah.
yeah, so these people are getting a break quite clearly.
But after I'm guessing the shifts
They
are
still work.
halved though, right? I can only
But
think that
yeah, the shifts are off. Yeah, the shifts are
that's the
off.
only way.
Yeah,
If their shifts are halved,
yeah,
maybe that's how they're gonna get breaks. But the curfew hours, there's not too many people out anyways. I'm
yeah.
basically talking about the
Basically, nobody is allowed to be out at that time. You know.
yes,
Yeah. So
supposed
and
to
even
be,
shops
but
are
clearly
supposed
people are still
to.
walking around.
From
Yeah,
what I understand, the shops are supposed to be closed.
yeah.
I haven't gone outside to check if the shops are closed because there's a curfew in place, you know. So
They
I don't know
are
if the shops are
open.
closed or not,
A little
but
birdie told me that they are open, just so
fair
you know.
enough, fair enough. I don't know. I've been confined to my four walls, and what happens in the outside world
Yeah,
is a mystery to me. I don't know. There could be wild parties happening everywhere,
that
and I
is
wouldn't
true.
be aware, you know. But from what
Agreed.
I've seen, and I've been looking out of my window at the street that runs outside my house, you know.
Mhm.
From what I've seen and from what I've heard in the previous 4 months or so that I've lived here,
Yeah,
the first 2 months, or I can say 2.5 months, from January to mid-March, were extremely busy, extremely
yeah,
loud. I was
agreed.
being kept awake with the sound of motorcycles on that road.
Yeah,
And ever since mid-March, when the curfew was announced, it's been graveyard silent.
agreed. So what's
Yeah.
your take on the news agency in Islamabad,
So
Pakistan, staying
going back to
open?
where we started,
Companies like that.
you see, so there are some people who are taking this seriously, and there are some people who are not. Okay, and there are some
Hmm.
employers who are, I want to say, abusing their power because employers do have a lot of power, regardless of how we may think that we are free in the world today. Employers basically are our new gods in the modern world. You know, um, in fact, it's worse than the state. You know, there are so many people out there who hate the state, such as the right wing Christian nutjobs who believe that they want a smaller state.
Hmm.
Yeah. And they don't want the state to interfere in their lives. And yet they willingly give even more power than the state
Hmm.
wants to their employer, which
Yeah.
is quite ironic. Um, but having said this, freedom. Having said this, the employers who are taking advantage of the situation and making people work and making people continue going to work in the middle of a pandemic when people are
Yeah.
being actually told to stay home, you know. And I'm not talking about key workers or essential workers like supermarket people or restaurants which are doing takeaways, or nurses and doctors and cleaners for hospitals. Obviously, these people need to work, and without them working, um, our society would just fall apart, and the COVID would run rampant through
Yeah.
society, and we wouldn't even be able to recover, you know. And people
Hmm.
like me wouldn't be able to stay alive because I don't have cooking facilities, so I would
Yeah.
starve to death if it wasn't for delivery people. Um, Having said this, there are other companies which are forcing their employees to go to work. There are not many, and that's the good thing. The positive aspect of all this is that the people who are ignoring the lockdowns and similar measures that are being taken worldwide are in the
Yeah.
minority, and that's a positive sign.
Agreed.
Um, so these, I mean, to a great extent, when it comes to employers and
Hmm.
employment, uh, if people are not required to be in the office to save lives or feed people,
Yeah.
then they should not be in the office, under the
Agreed.
current circumstances.
I mean,
Uh,
to be very honest, these guys have the choice of setting up systems to work from home.
yeah,
I'm
and
working
they're a
from home.
media
They are.
organization. That's the
I
weird
mean,
part. They're a media organization. They can work from home. We have the technology.
exactly. I mean, the entire world is working from home.
This is not the
Uh,
Stone Age where we're carving news onto tablets.
exactly, right?
We
And,
have
and
tablets, we have electronic tablets, and we can use them from home. It's
exactly.
not.
I mean, there's computers. There's accountants can do it. If for example you don't have a good enough computer at home, you still can use TeamViewer to actually work as well. So you can connect your computer, from your office to your home, and you can still do it. You do need a good internet connection, that's for sure, for sure.
Sure, but
But
I think
I
one
have
of the best
recently.
things that I'm very grateful for and I'm very happy about is that this kind of pandemic has
Mhm.
struck at a point where humanity can um, continue to function,
Yeah.
and social interaction can continue to occur despite us being restricted to our homes.
Agreed.
Work is
Yeah.
still being done. People are still filming, such as yourself. We don't need to be in a studio. You know, we can convert our own homes into um, the right kind of environment to do what we're doing. And most people can
Agreed.
continue to work from home. Um, I used to be a recruiter in the past, and I think it would not be difficult for me to do recruitment over the internet. If I was doing recruitment over the internet,
Yeah.
that would be very easy. In fact, when I was working in recruitment, which is about 5 years ago at this point,
Mm-hmm.
my boss 5 years ago, ahead of his time. He was a terrible person in many ways, but in this one way, he was ahead of his time. He implemented something called ROWE methodology, ROWE.
Okay.
Okay, and this ROWE methodology is a system which stands for Remote Online Working Environment.
Okay.
Remote online working
Yeah.
environment. And this is brilliant because ahead of his time, 5 years ago, this
That is
guy,
true.
for convenience sake,
Mm-hmm.
set up all our computers, and he insisted that we all bring our laptops into the office one day so that he could set up our work ecosystem.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Look, I don't want you guys to come to the office. Stay at home." And
Yeah. It
his
it it reduces bills too as well, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's one
like
of the
I
reasons he
think his
probably.
motivation was to shut down the office. Yeah, I think
There
that
you
was
go. So he had ulterior motives. Then
yeah,
I
of course,
mean,
he was a capitalist. At the end of the day, he was a capitalist. But that his motivation was to shut down the office, and
yeah.
he
But
sold
still, if it. Sorry. Continue.
he sold the company pretty soon, and yeah. Anyway, yeah. I didn't
Oh,
really have
I
much.
get what he was doing. He was basically shutting down the office so he could save some operation expenses and still get money from you
Yeah,
guys. And
yeah,
then
yeah.
basically he took that money and then he shut down the company. Interesting, very smart guy for sure. But like, that's the thing. Regardless of the fact how shitty all of this is, when I got a new chair, by the way. So
Oh
this
yeah,
like
I
this
was
like
about
reclines.
to.
Check this out. Goes all the way,
Mate,
all the
is
way.
that how
Really
you're going to
classy
do your
thing.
podcast from now on?
I'm sorry.
Horizontally? Are you going
What?
to do your podcast horizontally from now on?
No, 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 no. I was just showing off. I was just showing off to the one viewer we have. I don't know who that is, but bless your heart if you want to, put a
Thank you for
comment
watching.
down here. Say what?
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Like, comment,
Kapum.
subscribe.
But but the thing is, like, as bad as this whole situation is, and the reason I showed off my chair as well, because I've been working from home for like more than 2 weeks now, and my back and shoulders started hurting, and so that's why I got this, not just like for show, and
Ergonomics is very important.
because of this, I realized.
Ergonomics will make you
Sorry,
sick.
I'm sorry.
Ergonomics is very important. If you don't have the right ergonomics,
Exactly,
it will
it's
make you
an
sick.
ergonomic chair too, which is fantastic. But the thing is, what I wanted to talk about is that regardless of how crappy this entire situation is about working from home and all that stuff, and people having to, like teachers for example, having to work extra hard for it, online learning, constantly staring at the screen and everything. But the beauty of all of this is this is the first time, at least in my lifetime, that technology is basically being used. The use of technology has been maximized, and that is I feel, that's what I feel the beauty of all of this is.
No, 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 you didn't. Yeah, almost, almost.
There you go.
Yeah, that's better.
So that's the thing. Technology is being maximized. All of these things are being used the best way possible. I mean, you can talk to your boss and talk to your colleagues, and you can talk to all of them all together. And I remember back in the day when I wasn't, I think, yeah, this is when I was not working. Um, you couldn't get more than one person on Skype,
Yes.
and things like Zoom and all these things, they weren't available. Even StreamYard, this
That
website
you're
I'm
using now.
using,
Yeah, yeah.
all this didn't exist. So I think it's really amazing what people have actually achieved.
It's
Everything got shut
phenomenal.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's phenomenal.
everything got shut down basically, and as soon as possible, everyone basically figured out a way. They kind of assimilated to the situation, which I think is really amazing. This I've
Within
never
days.
seen this before. Yeah,
It took zero time. It took zero time.
exactly. And that's when you start realizing, and this is a really fantastic segue. I love it when this happens. This is a fantastic segue to this article I want to talk about, because you just mentioned that it took zero time, and the article is about what's going to happen after we get rid of the Sharona,
Yeah,
COVID-19, whatever you
yeah,
want to call it, and
yeah.
what happens after that? What will we all do after that? How will brands, how will bosses, how will companies, how will our own families and friends and relationships, how are they going to evolve out of this successfully? And I think that's something really important to think about.
It
um
is because
yeah,
as much as we might be looking at the current situation, it's also
yeah,
very important for human beings to always be forward facing. I mean, our eyes are at the front of our head for a reason.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's very important to be forward facing and look at the future as well.
yeah.
The new normal is going to be different slightly.
That's what I want to believe, and clearly what you want to believe. But this article kind of
It's
opens
going
your
to be different
eyes.
in many ways. That's open
Mm-hmm.
to interpretation. I haven't said how it's going to be different. It's going to be different,
Agreed. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
But
in
can I
some of
read
the,
read a few lines of this article so we can
of
talk
course. In
about it?
fact, stick it on the screen. Let's have a look through.
I don't know if I can do that. Wait,
Give it a go. Come on. I'm sure you have the
I'll try.
technological.
I'll try. I'll try.
Bear with me. I'm going
Um.
to think for a second, and I'll reappear very shortly.
Okay. Yeah, this is about it. It's on. So yeah, so while Imran is not here, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. If you guys are watching, whoever's watching, please leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and just see what this journey is all about eventually. Imran, you are back.
I was
Hi.
just making the
You're doing
area
something
that
sketchy, dude. Don't do
part of
sketchy weird things. Don't do weird things on live camera, man. Come on.
what, like disappearing like downwards.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
That was actually that probably increased the views as well. It's going to increase a bunch of things. We
well,
should
we
use
better.
that. We should use that as the thumbnail. So I'll be on camera and you'll be like
Well, as we
halfway
did.
down, like just your head showing. That's gonna be really funny to have as a thumbnail. Um, so yeah, I managed to bring that screen up, pull it up here.
Excellent. Well
Hi.
done.
No,
Let's
that's just us.
see.
There
Yeah,
you
there.
go.
Gotten it.
Right. So I'm just gonna speed read part of it. They say, I imagine what you feel like I do, devastated, depressed, and heartbroken. It says, what a perfect time for Best Buy, blah, 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 to help me feel normal again. If I could just have that new iPhone in my hand, rest my feet on a pillow of new Nikes, and blah, blah, blah. It's just our way of life is not without purpose. The economy is not at its core evil. Brands and their products create millions of jobs. So basically, the article is talking about these things as if this is going to be a direct action, an active way of these brands and governments and people in general to just ignore every single thing that happens. We have got to do better and find a way to be to a responsible free market. So basically, initially, the writer is basically saying that we are hoping for things to become normal again, where we can go out, we can have a good time, we can go for drinks, we can go meet our friends, family, travel, this and that, right? But
Sure.
over here, then it says, until then, get ready, my friends. What is about to be unleashed on the American society, forget America right now, I think this is all over the world, will be the greatest campaign ever created to get you to feel normal again.
I
Brands will
think
do it.
I think he's
Yeah.
writing a lot more specifically about America because he is an American, I'm assuming, and from the way he's writing, it's pretty clear that he is probably an American. Um,
Yeah.
America is quite a different case because you see, one of the things that I've understood from the very limited reading of this article that I've done
Hmm.
is that this guy is not happy with consumers,
Okay.
and this guy
Consumers.
is with consumerism. Yes.
Consumerism. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that his beef is with anything other than consumerism. He's not. Um, he's not knocking the lockdown. He's not knocking
No.
people. But what he's knocking is the consumerist angle of businesses who insist that we purchase their products.
Hmm.
That's where his beef lies, and I share his beef in that respect because I personally try my level best on every dynamic and every aspect to not be a consumerist because I just don't need stuff. It's
Yeah.
unnecessary. A student of mine commented today and she said, is that the only shirt you own? And I said, this is the shirt I wear for work
Hmm.
and I'm working right now.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing this shirt. So I don't see the need. And I mean, I have a wardrobe full of shirts, and if I needed to go to a meeting
Hmm.
or an interview or a social event, I would put on one of the shirts
Hmm.
and I would keep an eye on it and put it on because I'm not a hermit or a tramp. So I'm going to put some very minor effort into my appearance.
Mm-hmm.
However, having said all this, consumerism is unnecessary. Um, the items that I own, when I look around my house,
Yeah.
mostly have sentimental value, and are essential in some way.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So there are, however, other people. I believe myself to be a bit of an outlier,
Mm-hmm.
because I try not to own stuff for practical reasons. I've moved from one country to another 5 times in the last 6 years or 7 years.
Okay.
So for me, it's very impractical to own large amounts of stuff,
Okay.
because then it involves shipping, then it involves fees and handling, and so I put every fiber of my being towards not owning stuff.
But
However, there are other
yeah,
people in the world who do own a lot of stuff, and that's who he's writing about.
I think I need to disagree with you on this because I've read a bit more of this article. I should have sent it to you. It's my bad earlier.
No, I think
But this, let me open this up again. Um,
there you
so
go.
he's basically over here. This is further down. He basically is saying, "I beg of you, take a deep breath, ignore the deafening noise, and think deeply about what you want to put back into your life. This is our chance to define a new version of normal." So he's not only talking about consumerism, which he is
No,
definitely.
no,
He's talking
okay,
about that,
what he's talking about.
but
Look at the next line where he
yeah,
says, "We get to Marie Kondo the shit out of it all. We care deeply about one another." So what he's talking
yeah,
about is actually to make our lives richer, and to do that by
exactly,
social interaction rather than by buying.
exactly. Exactly. And he also mentions it's a really long one. He also mentions the fact that um, that just because everything is becomes clear, as in the virus, I mean, is taken care of, we get the vaccine and everything, all that does not mean that we should just end up going back to our offices and working exactly like we were working,
Yes,
which is, I think, is really, really interesting because, now that we all know that we are still making money and we are still doing stuff at home, I think it's time now for companies to actually be wary of asking people to come back.
no,
I
this is
think we have been spoiled to an extent.
a seminal moment in
Let me
history.
just finish my point here. Then, no, I'm saying I think we have become a little spoiled, knowing that we can make money for our companies sitting at home, that we can do a lot of things that does not involve a 30 or 40 or 50-minute commute to our offices, that we don't have to dress up and go. We can wear a really nice shirt, wear a tie, wear a jacket. We can sit in our pajamas and do the biggest meetings of our lives. I don't think we would, just in case, but
No,
not the biggest ones. But
I,
no, but that's not the biggest meeting of your life. I know it's up there. Thank you very much for the respect, but
I do respect it. I do respect it.
you know what I mean, though. Take it away.
No, I agree with you in very many ways. I agree with you 99%. Okay.
Damn right, it's my freaking show, dude.
We what? So I'm supposed to agree with you on fear of being muted.
I'm
This,
just messing
this
with
is
you. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, please.
this is a news podcast. This is not a religion. This is a news podcast. Okay, please get back in your
Sure.
box.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, so I agree with you on the basis that this shutdown and this lockdowns worldwide is going to be a
Yeah,
seminal moment in the world, and it's going to change
yeah.
the world work forever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
However, um, it's not going to change things for the majority of humans, because the world has changed. We have moved throughout the last 100 years,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe we can say 200 years, but let's say 100 years,
Yeah.
especially in developing countries. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
In developing countries, the way that a country develops, this is the generally established economic theory, is that
Mm-hmm.
people start at the very beginning with a low level of technology as farmers at level one.
Mm-hmm.
And agriculture and primary industries are the backbone of the economy in developing markets.
Yeah.
And as humanity and education progresses, we go to level two, which is manufacturing and secondary industries.
Yeah.
So primary industry is like mining, secondary industry is like manufacturing. And
Mm-hmm.
then tertiary industries is now where developed countries are at, which is service industries.
Okay.
So this is economic theory 101, that you get this progression as people get more educated and people have more money to spend,
Yeah.
uh, goes from stuff to services. And it starts at food, obviously. So it starts at food, then service, then stuff, then services.
Yeah.
So now, if you look at the US and the UK and most of Europe and Australia and New Zealand and other developed countries,
Mm-hmm.
including Thailand to an extent,
Yeah.
service industry is quite high
Yeah.
on the tree. So when you say that we can stay home and make money, that is very true. But that has been true since the advent of the internet.
Well, yeah.
So the
Agreed.
internet is what has caused
Yeah.
this change. So at the end of the COVID, at the end of these lockdowns and shutdowns, people will go back to work and they will continue to work at their workplace
Yeah.
because we human beings, we like social interaction. We
Mm-hmm.
like human service. Have you ever gotten angry when you've tried to call a company and you get a robot?
Yeah.
How angry have you gotten? Yeah. So many times I want to reach through the phone and pull the wires out of that robot, which doesn't actually exist. There are no wires. But
Yeah.
the point is that human beings, we like physical contact and we like face-to-face social interaction.
Yeah.
It's part of who we are.
I
So
mean,
at the end of the
yeah.
day, people will go back to work.
I think there you just excuse me. You just mentioned social interaction. You said people like going out, right? You do understand that there are now ways to work from home and not meet anybody. Trust me, I know a bunch of people who have mentioned that they really miss going to work, and I understand that. I have
I,
this
I
past
miss it
week,
too. I miss it too, and there are so many other people who do miss
right? But can you imagine in the new norm, we work from home, we work more in less time,
it.
and then
People are more efficient
eventually,
in many cases. People are more efficient in many
and then
cases.
eventually, be able to meet the people who actually matter
Yeah, yeah.
instead of spending long hours, like I mentioned earlier, commuting and
In
seeing
many
people you
cases,
hate basically
no,
on a
no, in
daily
many
basis.
cases, it's and this shutdown and lockdowns is going to have this effect.
Hmm.
No word of a lie.
Yeah,
It's just not going to apply to everyone. You know, like
agreed. Yeah.
the way that people will go back to work, not
Hmm.
everyone. There are many
Yeah.
people who will now have a significant change in their lifestyle after this,
Yeah.
and they will work from home a lot more.
Agreed.
And companies as well will be forced to become more flexible, which is a brilliant thing. This is phenomenal that
Yeah.
companies want to do this. Yeah,
Yeah.
companies will have no choice but to um, create scenarios like it will become a differentiating factor. You know, there will be
Hmm.
people who will want to do it, and even before this, the clamor and the noise from the working class was that we want to work from home, and
Hmm.
employers were already starting to implement these kind of things. Like I said with my employer previously, he was a bit ahead of his time, and
Yeah.
he
Rogue.
set up these kind of systems. You know, so companies have been working towards this for a long time. When I worked in Malaysia as well for the last 1.5 years previously, I was teaching a lot of civil servants English,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of those civil servants were being given the opportunity to work from home, even though Malaysia is
Okay.
not a progressive country in the world.
Okay.
Regardless of that, there were still opportunities for people to work from home, and this
Okay.
will accelerate significantly in the next decade.
Agreed. Now, obviously, I love doing as long as a live stream as I possibly can, but I don't have a connector, a power connector for my camera. And so I have 18% left, and I don't know how that's probably 5 minutes more. It's really unfortunate. I need to do something better. But before we leave, though, is there anything you would like to give out,
There's
dole
a
out
lot,
final
um,
words?
but I can't remember. Please don't say final words. I'm not going to die immediately.
Sure.
I'm not planning to. There's a lot that I wanted to say previously. I should have written it down. Unfortunately, most of it has gone over the top of my head. I don't want to start a new topic right now if we're finishing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe tomorrow we can. Oh, come on, they're not fine. Um,
I'll
there's
remove
a
it.
okay.
I'll
There we
remove
go.
it. Yeah.
Sure.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It could have
Come
been
on. You
worse.
have this one
It
chance
could
for
have been worse.
now to
You could have said famous last words. You know, it could have been
famous
worse.
last words. No, we're not gonna take you to a final and well, fame you probably will gain eventually, but last words no.
We're all gonna
Uh,
go. It's fair enough.
that is true. I'm not going anywhere actually. That's my thing. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay till the earth melts. So there's that
Are
for
you going
sure.
to transfer your consciousness into AI?
Probably I'll figure something out for
Fair
sure.
enough. I mean, you
But
figured it all out at this point, so I have no doubt. I have faith in you, man.
that non-conversation just cost me 2% of battery
That's
time.
fine, mate. You're not paying for the battery life. You can recharge
I
it, I
know,
think.
I know, I know. No, honestly though, do you have any?
There's plenty more to say, but not at this stage. What I would recommend right now is quite simply that people like try to find something. Yes, sorry. One last thing before we go. The most important thing that's a priority at this point, okay, is the
Mhm,
mental health of people. Okay,
mhm.
very very important, and no one's talking about it enough. And there is a crisis that's going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
A very large proportion of the 7.9 billion souls who live on the planet right now are suffering from severe. Um, this is basically what's the word? What's the word? What's the word? Confinement, solitary confinement.
Yeah.
And if anyone has studied solitary confinement even slightly, they
Yeah.
know that it has extremely severe effects.
That is true.
Now,
Yeah.
we are very lucky, we are very fortunate that we have the internet, we have games and videos and stuff to distract us. We are very, very fortunate that we're able to distract ourselves in some way.
Hmm.
But there is still a crisis of mental health going on around the world. So if you have any trouble, if you are suffering with yourself, please reach out to people. Please talk to people on the internet. Please reach out to medical organizations which support people with depression and mental health issues. Please don't suffer alone. Please go and ask for help. And it's not weakness to ask for help. It's actually strength, because you are showing that you are strong enough to admit that you need assistance. Okay. So please seek assistance. Please help yourself. Distract yourself. Try to find something positive to do. And even if you don't find something positive to do not stress about it, because there's no point beating yourself up about something that isn't your fault. You know, nobody asked for this COVID. Nobody asked to be locked in their house. Nobody enjoys it. Nobody appreciates it. Maybe a very tiny minority of people. But at the end of the day, find something that you enjoy, regardless of it being positive or negative or constructive or destructive. Find something you enjoy and reflect on your mental health. Take time for yourself. do something that you're passionate about. And even if you're not passionate about something, just try something new. Talk to people on the internet, make friends. Because people are free right now.
Mm-hmm.
People have all the time in the world right now. So reach out to that friend, reach out to people who might be able to support you, and get yourself ready for the end of the shutdown. You made an excellent video 2 days ago about building yourself in this time, and I fully
Thanks
agree
for the
with everything
plug.
in this video. Build yourself up in this time and be ready for what's going to come in the new normal. Thank you very much for having me. I'm really happy to have been on the show.
No, I'm really glad. Please come by anytime. And I know we will be able to talk so much that the next 20 uh, might just be you and me talking continuously.
Oh,
I
I would love
actually,
to repeat it.
I actually do have another guest eventually. He got busy yesterday. He works um, uh, in the with the ambulance emergency staff in Patong Hospital.
Wow.
And he's the only foreigner working in that team. And he was on TV as well a few days ago. I met him 4.5 years ago when I was working in the paper. Um,
So that's
so
coming up.
that
Stay tuned, and make
stay
sure you.
tuned for tomorrow or whenever he's free. But but yeah, no, he has actually mentioned as well that uh, things are pretty crazy. It's just we just need to be careful and be safe. He called um, these guys who just say all the time that hey, it doesn't exist, the virus doesn't exist and stuff like that. He said they're freaking idiots, morons, basically. So yeah, that would be interesting as well. um, that's about it, I guess. People, thank you so much for watching. This was Imran, and I am Zoe from Zoe Still Moving About. This was episode 19 of News Views. There was less news today, but more views, which is nice. And yeah, so please do check out my video that I posted a couple of days ago. It's episode 38, and it talks about motivation and self development during these crazy COVID times. Thank
I
you so
watched it
much.
and I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Bye
See,
bye.
that's a fan right there. That's some solid fanship right there. This is good stuff, man. You're gonna be in every single stream now, dude. Uh, well, thank you, Imran. Thank you for being here, and I will hopefully talk to you soon. Stay
That's it,
safe, stay
yeah.
healthy, take care of yourself. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye, people. Thank you for watching. Oh, please like, share, comment, and subscribe.
That's it, yeah.